What's up, guys? So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Talk some NBA preseason, the hype around some players. We can talk some NFL playoffs, the hype around some of those players, and some baseball offseason stuff if you want. What's up, Classic Pack Attack, man? Welcome back. That all rhymed. It all went together. L&M Bros, what's going on, man? Yes, I do. What's up, Ben Clark? Ben Clark, you're my Hakeem Olajuwon, man, aren't you? So, yeah, you let's see here. Let's go ahead and pull it on up. What's up, Blair, man? What's up? L&M Bros, do I like Kobe White? As an investment, I do like him. Am I a Bulls fan? No. But, yeah, I do like him as an investment. I think he's the most exciting player outside of Zach LaVine on that team. Chicago Bulls are looking for a winner. They haven't had one in a while. And, you know, good school. Believe he went to UNC. Great shooter. And he's going to get more minutes this year. I'm invested into some Kobe White stuff. And I actually like him better than just a quick flip. I actually like Kobe White a little bit more long-term. He has a quick flip potential because he can go out and put up 30 points, you know, back-to-back nights like he did last year. And all of a sudden the buzz will generate some sales. But I also like him as a long-term player. I think he has a good future in the NBA coming up. That's my thoughts on Kobe White. I do like him. I have been buying some of his stuff. Mostly PSA 9 Prisms. Some things that I got really good deals on, I did sell. Some StarStock stuff, some selects I picked up for $10. I flipped for like $27 a piece in the StarStock A. But I've also been using some of that to pick up some PSA 9s on his Prisms when I find a good deal. Playoffs. Was that Jim Mora Sr. with the Colts? They did the old playoffs quote talking about Peyton Manning was throwing interceptions because he was all young and everybody. Yeah, he found his way out of that Indy job talking about Peyton Manning throwing interceptions and stuff. We saw how that went. Hell yeah, all Hakeems. When I was a kid, believe it or not, I'm old enough, I was buying 86 Fleer wax and busting it as a kid. I remember going to a Rose's department store. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Rose's department stores. They don't even really exist around where I live anymore. But you could buy those packs and bust them. And, yeah, I found all my 86 Fleers from when I was a kid, and a lot of them were really beat up. But I sent my Hakeem into SGC, actually, to have it graded. And I think I have it here. So this was gosh, let's see. This was I've had this card ever since I was probably 10 to 12 years old or something. This Hakeem Olajuwon, if I can find it. Let me see here. It's got stuff mixed up in a box. Yeah, I had this Hakeem out of a pack. This is pack pulled when I was like maybe 10 or 11 years old. And I found it in my old box of cards. I sent it to SGC and I got an 8. So that was pretty cool. It's not something I was grading to sell or anything. It was just awesome that I had this my entire, you know, collecting life as a kid, and was able to send it in and get an 8 like out of nowhere. Let me see what we got. Oh, let's see. Silver Giannis rookie select. I think the best buy on Giannis right now is probably his hoops, because it hasn't the Prism and the select have both increased probably about 40%, both in a PSA 10 and a PSA 9 since the hype has come back up for the preseason, you know, because his stuff fell off when they were eliminated in the bubble. but his hoops haven't gone back up yet. So following market trends, his hoops right now is probably the best buy. You're probably going to have to shell out quite a bit of money for a silver select of Giannis. So I personally, I would never buy a card that expensive unless it was at like a card show and I could actually look at it. I mean, I would always ask myself if there's a Prism or even like a select, or definitely a silver select out there being sold raw, there's probably a reason why it's being sold raw. That's just me. Maybe it's a pessimist outlook, but to me, it's just a safe outlook on it when you're talking to the kind of money you'd probably have to spend on that raw card. So, yeah, I just like if you could look at it yourself, then maybe, but you know, buying online, that's dangerous. Dave G, what's up, man? How you doing? Oh, here we go. Here goes the talk. THT so overrated. Jeesh. Yeah, well, here's the thing. He's putting up numbers because he's getting minutes because LeBron and Anthony Davis aren't playing. So are his cards overrated? Yes, his cards are real overrated because there's no way they can sustain those values. But is he overrated as a player? I mean, who knows if he got playing time with the Lakers or somewhere else? Maybe he could sustain, but he won't sustain because of limited playing time for the Lakers. So that'll be the downfall of his cards. That's not necessarily a knock on his talent as far as if he can play the game or not, but definitely for his cards because he's not going to get the type of playing time to score 33 points a night like he did in the preseason. And you never know. You know, he may have that type of talent, but he's not going to get to use it for the Lakers. It'd be more of a guy coming off the bench, scoring a couple points. You know, it doesn't matter what LeBron tweets out about him. I actually had a couple of those optics laying around in my common box, and I pulled them out. Yeah, they weren't even in like top loads or anything. They were just in soft sleeves. I was in a break. I was only in one break this year, and I had the Lakers and the Kings. And it was a big break. It was like 2017 Prism hobby box, 2019-20 Prism hobby box, select hobby box, and an optic hobby box. So it was optic, Prism, and select hobby all from this season. And then a 2017 Prism hobby box was thrown in, and it was a break. I got the Lakers and the Kings. And I got some good stuff, some good LeBrons and stuff out of it. I got De'Aaron Fox out of the 2017 box. And I just went and looked through some of my stuff that was thrown in the commons, and I had two of these optic thrown in there and a couple Harry Giles Prisms, you know, another guy who's kind of catching some buzz with the preseason. You see here, guys, I don't want to fall too far behind on the comments here. Steve, love your channel. What is the biggest card in my collection? The biggest card or my favorite, because there's some cards that I just don't really hold on to, even though they have value, because I tend to have stuff coming in and going out. I don't know what the biggest thing next to me would be. Like I just sold some Patrick Mahomes PSA 10 selects. You know, those were $1,000 a card. It all depends on the market at any given time on what card is the most expensive one that I have in my boxes. Like anything that I have in my boxes that I keep out is stuff that I will sell if I get the right price on it. That's hard to say because I do have Jordan from that 86 Fleer, but it's pretty beat up. It doesn't have a grade on it. So don't really know what the value of it is because it's not graded. That would probably be my biggest card as far as hype. I mean, I got a Maradona sticker, a Maradona rookie sticker, which, you know, again, that card also fluctuates big time with the market. Some of my bigger cards might actually be soccer items, vintage soccer items. You see here, like at one time, the Messi Prism 10, that was a big one. The Ronaldo gem mint was a big one, but, you know, with the market tanking some on those, Stanley Matthews, BGS 8. That's pretty big for soccer. These are just some of my favorites because they're vintage. The Robert Lewandowski Polish sticker and an 8.5. That's pretty valuable too. But yeah, it's all a market. There's not like a set price guide that tells me what my stuff is worth. That's probably not really the answer you were looking for. Oh, I do have. Hold on. I do got a 10 Topps Kobe rookie also, and I also have this. This is a jersey auto numbered out of 50 and a BGS 8. The auto is in a 10. This is on card. There's no market for these because there's no comps, so I really don't know what to compare it to. I also have a Tom Brady card with like 16 game-used jersey swatches on it and numbered out of 9, and there's no market on that either. But that's probably some of my bigger cards if I was to list them. But as far as what a number is on them now, there's not any comps to tell me what they, what they're selling for. Let's see. Guys, let me check out. Sorry if I missed the comments when I get talking. They go by and the screen doesn't scroll with me. Let's see here. Curtis, what's up, man? I bought a lot of sealed 1920 wax. Do you think I should hold long term or unload this year when prices get hot again? What kind of like a lot of wax? Just all products or Prism, hobby, retail? I would probably hold it. The 1920 rookie class was good. Other than Ja and Zion, there's a lot of good rookies I like in there. Tyler Herro is good. I think he's got long-term potential. Kobe White, I talked about him. I'm also big, not super big, but I also like Roy Hachimura. A lot of people don't, but I like Roy. DeAndre Hunter sneaking up there because he's been starting in the preseason for Atlanta at small forward. And that team's going to have some potency this year. They're going to score a lot of points. He's actually scored close to 20 in both of the games, preseason games so far, and looked really good. He was a 4th overall pick out of Virginia. He's going to get a lot of playing time because he's really good at defense. And that is Atlanta's biggest weakness is their defense. They don't have a problem scoring. So he's going to get a lot of playing time just because of his defense, and that's also going to lead to him getting some baskets, which has already kind of happened in the preseason. If you've seen, he's scored like 18 points back-to-back nights. Actually, I've been watching his stuff on StarStock, and it's really creeping up there. I have a lot again. Now, this was bought back in February, maybe March of last year. This is just a stack of DeAndre Hunter Prisms. There's like 20 of them here, and I bought them for $17. So I got these for less than $1 a card back in February in a big lot, and now they're about $18 to $20 in a StarStock A. On eBay Raw, I'm not really sure what they're going for. Probably less. People like to buy that StarStock A because it gives them some peace of mind, the condition on the card. So your raw cards draw a premium when you sell them through StarStock. So all these are going to go to StarStock. I'm not going to mess with eBay and their return policies and all that stuff when you sell raw cards on there. Get a little bit of football. Do you think Travis Kelce cards could go up because now he's one of the best tight ends of all time? That's tough. Tight ends really don't get a lot of notoriety because even when you look at the best, because you're saying he's one of the best tight ends of all time, but when you look at the best, like Tony Gonzalez, older school guys like Kellen Winslow and senior, not junior. He failed his NFL career. But Ozzie Newsome, some of the legends like that, even older guys like Mike Ditka, who's an all-timer. Maybe you could see increase in their value. You never know with the market because people start to look at everything nowadays. But, what's going to help him is the team that he's on. He's going to get some Super Bowl notoriety, things like that. So as long as, Travis Kelce, as long as he's in the news and putting up big numbers, you can see increases in his cards. But he's the type of guy that as soon as the season's over with, they're not going to talk about Travis Kelce in the offseason. They're going to talk about Patrick Mahomes, maybe even Tyreek Hill. They're not going to talk about Travis Kelce. So if you're looking to buy him, probably right now is probably not the time. It's probably the best time to sell him right now. And if you want to reload on him in the offseason, would probably be the best time. As Fleming says, evening flipping Steve, even his daughters are big fans, 9 and 7. How you doing? Okay, so Curtis just said mostly Mosaic and Illusions. Yeah, I would probably – the Illusions is tough because you never know. Only really the big name players are going to sell out of Illusion. Mosaic is kind of crept up in there into that like 4th, maybe 5th product that everybody likes. Prism, Optic, and Select, or Select Optic. I mean, if you look at it now, Select is actually passing Optic in sales or in sales comps. Maybe not necessarily sales volume, but Select is actually slowly moving into that number 2 spot if people haven't noticed. So if you invested in Select, which was my favorite product, you've done well because they're just passively increasing in value even without the players playing. Mosaic, tough grades, so it's really hard to open that stuff up because you could pull a really good card and it could have surface scratches. So probably with Mosaic, I would probably sit on it just because if you're hoping to pull a nice Zion Silver and get it graded, it's going to have you're going to have a tough time. They just have surface issues straight from the factory. Illusions, I would probably bust that and see if I got a big hit because the smaller stuff, it's going to take a long time for the trickle-down effect to hit the Illusions product. When you're talking Prism, Select Optic, Mosaics in there, even Hoops and Revolution, those come in there next as the bargain cards, and you never really get your way down to the Illusions product. And Panini's pumping out products like crazy. You're even seeing, whatever they just came out with, Hoops Premium and I don't know, the other one, Donruss, clearly Donruss. I mean, it's just all product that they're just pumping into the market to get people to spend on wax. Let's see here. Yeah, MPJ is good. I mean, if you can find good bargains on him, his cards have already kind of, gone up because he played so well in the playoffs. And Denver is a good team who can push deep into the playoffs again. And he's a shooter and he's exciting. He can blow up for 30 points. A lot of people have MJ or MPJ on their list, so it's tough to get him at a value. But you can start looking at the lower cards on him, I believe, such as Select definitely, and maybe you can get into the Hoops. I'm not really sure. It just depends on the price point again. If you can get into like a lot of Hoops, because I did buy a lot of Kobe White Hoops, dirt cheap, and not because they're going up in value. It's going to take a while to get to them, but because I believe in him being more of a long-term investment than just strictly a flip. Players like that, when Luka's cards are so expensive that his upper tier products get outpriced, and then Hoops and Revolutions and stuff become valuable. So you just got to ask yourself, can MPJ push the type of prices with his top tier cards to where lower end products can gain some momentum? If you get in on them early, then it's a good opportunity to make some money because it can happen. I was buying Luka Revolutions in a PSA 10 for $150, and then in the bubble, I was able to flip them between $700 and $800 a piece because his other cards, like his Prism, pushed 2,000, and it just pulled the Revolutions up with it. Let's see. Ron Fig, this is a craps. This is a craps right here. 135 across, 54 for the dealers. It's a craps bet right there. If you guys didn't know, I work in a casino. I actually teach dice. I haven't had a class since COVID though because we can't be in the classroom. Let's see. This is a good question, Ben. Do I collect, keep, or do I just flip? I do a little bit of everything. I collect, for instance, I've been buying all the Project 2020 Cal Ripken Juniors. Now, I'm not buying those because of the value. Well, you know, a lot of people were buying those in the beginning and trying to flip them. Then the print runs got crazy and things like that. I was just buying the Ripkens, and that's the only player I was buying, unless I saw a good Tony Gwynn every now and then, because he was one of my favorite players as well. But the Orioles and Cal Ripken are my all-time favorite. So I was buying all the Cal Ripkens. So that's like a collect there. I do hold stuff long-term, if that's what you refer to as keep. I'm not really selling players like Anthony Davis right now. I'm not even selling Kawhi, even though he saw a bump. I'm not selling LeBron. So those are guys that I'm keeping. In the other sports, I'm keeping Albert Pujols. I'm keeping Peyton Manning. And then flipping, it's mostly guys, your ultra-modern stuff by definition with PSA, stuff like 2017 and newer. That's the stuff that I'm mostly flipping. And I take a lot of the money that I make from flipping, or at least half of it, and I reinvest into older stuff. One of my first videos was actually flipping newer cards, newer, cheaper cards. And I bought a 96 Topps PSA 10 Kobe Bryant. And I flipped up to that. I didn't pay huge money out of my pocket for that. I flipped up to it, and now that's a card that I've put away. So I use my newer stuff and hyped players to go back and buy older stuff. Like I just bought a Mario Lemieux rookie, 8.5 in hockey, just because I think of the Wayne Gretzky ripple effect could, you know, draw some value to these guys. But I mainly hold and invest or keep. I collect anything that I think looks neat, and then I keep things that are like vintage type collectibles, like my Maradona sticker, which I don't think I pulled it out, but it's like this right here. This is a Johan Cruyff, and if you're familiar with soccer, you know who he is. This is in a 5.5, but this is super awesome. It's super vintage, and it's super rare, and this is something that I bought to keep or collect. You just don't, you know, the stuff you just don't see every day. So eventually things in your, my dog likes Johan Cruyff too. Eventually, even items that you keep can sometimes get boring, and you might want to flip them into something more exciting eventually. But yeah. I can't show the Jordan because it's locked up. It's in a fireproof box, and it's in a plastic brick about this thick with the 4 screw downs. It's been in there ever since it gained some value. I carried it around with me a lot when I was a kid. So it's beat up. It's been traded away and traded back. I traded it to my brother. He traded it back to me. So that Jordan has seen lots of hands and lots of different people. And it's had a lot of action. And it's just the only reason I would ever send it in to get graded would just to get it all authenticated. But I pulled it out of a pack as a kid, and that's good enough to me to know that it's authentic, because I don't ever plan on selling it, because if I did, I really wouldn't get the type of money that it's worth to me, because there's not a whole lot of people that can say, hey, I pulled a Jordan as a little kid when I was buying 86 Fleer wax at Rose's for like 40 cents a pack. I do have a stack of those right here, actually. Here's a lot of those 86, 87 Fleers that came out of those packs when I was a kid. Even, sorry, guys, Derek Harper. Well, James Worthy's not sorry. Charles Oakley, Buck Williams, Tom Chambers. Just regular guys. Sam Perkins, Xavier McDaniel. There's a Clyde Drexler, Patrick Ewing, Dumars, Chris Mullen. I got a Dominique in here. I got Isaiah Thomas. So, yeah, these were all pulled when I was a kid. And I got 3 of them graded, a Karl Malone, a Charles Barkley, and Hakeem Olajuwon. And the Barkley and the Olajuwon got 8s, and the Karl Malone got a 7.5 from SGC. So I had the Olajuwon out. Here's the Barkley. The Barkley is an 8. That came back as an 8. Yeah. I had that since I was 10 years old. And a Karl Malone, there it is. There's a Karl Malone to come back at 7.5. Now, there's a James Worthy from PSA. That's in an 8. I might send in the Dominique Wilkins, but some of the other ones are just really beat up bad. The Isaiah Thomas and the Patrick Ewing, they look like they got into a fight. Let's see. What's up, Hockey 99? Why is baseball flat for modern day cards? Well, the cards aren't very exciting. I mean, Topps flagship is like what everybody chases, and it's just a cardboard based card, and you can pull tons of them out of packs, and what makes them worth anything is getting them graded. They have to be graded. Nobody really even likes to buy a new rookie card out of a pack unless it's graded. It seems to me the only thing that even adds value to some of these base Topps rookie cards is the fact that they have a slab on them, because you can buy them in stacks raw most of the time. Then you get them graded and you resell them. But for some reason, even your top players in baseball are nowhere even near basketball. You take a guy like Cody Bellinger, like I've used him before as an MVP and a World Series champion, and his best rookies, as far as a base goes, I don't even know what the market is on them now, but they're maybe $300 in a PSA 10. You can take some basketball players from today, like John Morant, who has a rookie of the year but never done anything else, and his cards are worth more than Cody Bellinger, who's already got more of a bigger career in the baseball. But that's just the way that it is. Basketball is just more popular and more marketable. The players have more of a personality in basketball because they're allowed to market themselves and be on Twitter and do things like that. And baseball is more strict and kind of by the book and more old school. So the fans don't necessarily get a personal attachment to a lot of the players, as far as, a psychological attachment, as far as, oh, I like this guy, he's just cool, we got a lot in common. The baseball players are really very closed off as opposed to basketball players. What's up, Ziggy? I just got done watching your video on PSA dominating the market. I'm going to go back and watch it again because I didn't hear it very well because I was setting up for the live stream right as it came out. But Ziggy just dropped a video on PSA, and I'm sure it's got some good knowledge in it. I did watch it all the way through once, but I was trying to eat real quick. I'm going to go back and watch it again so I can actually hear it with my headphones on. Let's see here. Clearly, Don Russ, I haven't picked up any yet. I haven't picked up any new product. I haven't been doing much with wax at all. I like, you're talking about Kevin Porter Jr. and Darius Garland. I do like the Cavs backcourt. They're all young, and I think they can all play. But you got to pick and choose which one you want, or which two you want. I'm slightly invested in on Colin Sexton, not too heavily. Let's see. I might have something here by me. So what I did was I had 2 of these Colin Sexton Prism Silvers. This is a silver. You don't know if you can tell. This is a PSA 9. I grabbed 2 of these super late a couple months ago on Propstein auction for $40 each. They ended back-to-back, and I won the bids on both of them, maybe $42 a piece. Now they're pushing like 120. And I also bought one in a PSA 10. This cost me $165. Now this is the silver. I think the last sale on this was around $540. So I'm probably going to look to flip this right now. I had 2 of these, like I said, and I sold one of them. And I took the $120 that I made off of the one that I sold, and I bought 2 PSA 9 silvers of Darius Garland. So I turned 1 Colin Sexton into 2 Darius Garlands. And so now I got a little bit of share of both of those guys out of the Cleveland backcourt because they're both young and they both are going to score some points. So I just wanted to diversify a little bit. So I got out of one of my Colin Sextons for 2 Darius Garlands. So now I got a share in both of those players. I haven't gone in on any Kevin Porter Jr. stuff. I think he's going to be good. I think he's talented. The thing is you just can't invest in everybody. You invest in everybody, you won't be able to make any profit. It doesn't, just because I don't invest in somebody doesn't mean I don't think they have potential. It just means that, you know, if there's a list of 10 guys that I like, I have to choose off of those guys. I can't invest in all 10 of them. And all 10 of them might be profitable, and that's fine. But, you know, you got to limit your risk. You got to pick the guys that you like. You got to look for the good price points. And you got to sell it without worrying about looking back with regret. If you hold something too long, you might not get what you want for it. And if you sell too early, you may have been able to get more for it. But if you get in the habit of looking back with regret, then you get in the habit of holding everything. And then you don't have any product going out. You only have it coming in. Thought on liquidity of wax in the future, since it's fairly expensive. The thing about wax, it's always going to be circumstantial to the players and the product. If it's a bad rookie class, the wax is going to lose value. If it's a good rookie class, it's going to gain value. You know, 2003 Topps would have been great wax to have because of the rookie class ended up being pretty good, and of course it had LeBron in it. But if you look at some other rookie classes, you may not have any guys that are standouts in it, and it just, you know, make the product fall flat. So it's always going to be determined by who's in it. People want to buy 2018 Prism because it's got Luka in it. But if it didn't have Luka in it, you would see the values of that go down like crazy. There's still guys you can get out of there like Trae Young and SGA and such, but Luka carries that product, and if he wasn't in it, that would probably be worth, you know, 2/3 of what it's selling for now. So it's carried by the wax is carried by the players in the wax. And it's just like investing in singles. You never know what you're going to get with a single. So you never know what you're going to get with a draft class. You know, if you did, you would buy all the right guys and make all the right decisions, but you just never know. Still looking at these here, guys, trying to get some comments. The comments coming in hot and fast, guys, so it's tough for me to keep up. I'm sorry. I try to answer as many as I can. And that's why I do these live streams that are just Q&A, because a lot of times it's hard to answer comments when you're on a live stream just with general conversation. Here we go. Back on the baseball kick. Baseball isn't flat, just more players. You bought Soto, Tatis, Betts, Acuna this time last year, and you made a boatload of money. Yeah, like I said, well, it depends on your price point if you made a boatload of money or not. If you bought Soto when he was at $150 for a PSA 10, you did not make a boatload of money. If you bought him when he was $80, then yeah, you might have doubled up. But the percentages aren't the same in basketball. Like I just showed a Colin Sexton card that sold for over $500, and technically, what has Colin Sexton done? Nothing. Tatis is a monster. I did well off flipping Tatis this year. I bought his heritages in a PSA 10 when they were $30 and sold them for 130 to 150, about 10 of them. But that being said, it wasn't huge money. You know, his cards increased in value, but they never saw the prices of basketball rookie cards. So yeah, you can make money in baseball, and it does, like your next comment says, it takes more time, which it does. Baseball is a lot harder. We're going into this. Baseball is a lot harder to prospect in because players go through different minor league systems and such. And sometimes your best prospects, they never even make it out of AAA. They never even make it into the major leagues. And then some guys you never even heard of end up becoming superstars like Albert Pujols. But so baseball is a lot harder to prospect in, and you know, you got to be buying these guys like Bowman's first and things like that way before they're even in the major leagues, and you never know what's going to happen. I think that's what turns a lot of people off to baseball. And when you start buying guys like Soto and such, who have had a couple good years under their belt, you know, if you didn't buy them early, then you really didn't make a whole lot of money. If you bought them when they were hitting that peak, they've actually come down. So it's tough to buy baseball early and flip it. Did I get my Pokemon back? I got back 6 Pokemon cards. I had them in a video. I have about 10 or 15 out in an order. I can't remember how many Pokemon cards I sent, but I sent a 30-card order to PSA, and I can't remember if it was 10 or 15 Pokemon cards. I have to check my list of what I sent. But I got back some stuff. I've actually sold 2 of them already. I mailed them out today, and I have 4 of the 6 left. I got 4 9s and 2 8s, so everything that I got graded pretty well. The 2 Venusaur Hollows got 9s. The Dark Blastoise got a 9. The regular Blastoise got an 8. The Dark Charizard got an 8. And then the Shadowless Alakazam got a 9. So that was probably the best card out of the bunch because it was Shadowless. I sold one of the Venusaurs and the Blastoise. And I did have a buyer for the Dark Charizard, but they haven't paid me yet. It's been like 2 days, so we'll see. I sent them a message. With that being said, I haven't sold much Pokemon, and I've sold a ton of sports cards. And Pokemon buyers, and this is not a knock on anybody here, but so far my experience with Pokemon buyers is the worst. They want extra pictures. They want to message you, and they want 10 more pictures, and they want close-up pictures. And, I mean, these cards are already slabbed. They want you to send coined pictures. Then they want to ask you what your lowest price is, and I'm like, that don't work like that. You make me an offer. I don't tell you what my lowest price is. You know, it's been like, oh, man, I wish I could turn off Pokemon buyer notifications and just be like, either buy it or don't buy it. As many sports cards as I've sold like that, or have sold this year, I've never had the annoyingness that I've had just trying to sell 6 Pokemon cards in the past week. What's up, Chris? Yeah, man, things going pretty good. It's raining here. I'm back to work. I'm having a hard time pushing out videos. Just been busy. That's why I'm doing a live stream, just so I can get some content out there and talk to everybody, so everybody else is doing, and answer some questions. I filmed a video today, but I didn't even have time to edit it, so it'll probably be uploaded tomorrow. It's a soccer video. It's got a couple basketball cards in it, like maybe 2 and a hockey card, but it's mostly soccer. A lot of my followers have been wanting another soccer video, and I've been waiting for a card to come in the mail, and it came today, so I did the video. So, guys, if you're looking out for that soccer video, I know soccer doesn't get as many views and likes and stuff like that, but I'm still going to do it because I like it. I know you guys like it. What do I think of Troy Brown Jr.? I'm going to have to be honest with you. I don't even know who he is. So maybe I missed the boat on that one. It's hard to keep up with everybody. Same here. Lynn Bowder Jr. I don't know much about him. If these are young baseball players, guys, I can tell you right now, baseball is not my forte, especially when it comes to prospecting on the young guys. If it's a hockey player, I wouldn't know either. It might be a basketball player from this year's draft. I don't know many people from this year's draft either. So you have to excuse me on that. Like I said, I never just make up an answer for the sake of making up an answer. If I don't know it, I'm going to tell you. I don't know. I don't know about Lynn Bowder Jr. Sorry. Am I in on Josh Allen? I'm not. I was, and I sold. I sold a little early, but that's okay with me. I think he's good. I think they could, threaten a Super Bowl run. It's hard to say that anybody would beat the Chiefs, but, the Bills could, as long as he doesn't make some of the young mistakes that he still makes. Last year, he made some bonehead plays for a young player against Houston. They still should have won that game. However, Deshaun Watson made a Superman move on the Buffalo Bills defense to eliminate the Bills. But I like Josh Allen. I invested in him way, way early when his Prism PSA 10s were only $30. Well, $39.99. Let's say $40, I guess. There was a seller on eBay selling a lot of them, like a whole lot of them. He had a bunch listed. And he had a bunch of 10s and 9s. His 9s were only $14. They were all buy it nows. So I got a handful of those at $39.99. But then I sold them when they were between $150 and $200. So to me, I just had to let him go because I was making, at least triple my money. And, hindsight being 2020, yeah, I could have made a lot more, but he could have also went out and, tore a knee and then I would have been stuck with him. So it's fine with me. What I made on him. To get in on Josh Allen now would probably be a little too late because the price point is going to be really high. So, you're taking a huge gamble if you buy in on him now. I like him. Don't get me wrong. That's the question. I'm just not in on him. Not anymore. I've already bought and sold. I need a hot admin. Yeah, I'm new to this stuff, so yeah, what I need to do that, like I don't even know how to share my screen. Like I would like to go to StarStock and do some stuff with you guys, but I haven't learned how to go to another screen yet. Man, I'm a noob cake when it comes to live streaming, man. My counter is frozen. Okay, here we go. All right, so I just got my cards ready for StarStock, and I was surprised when I read the directions on how to send them in. They just want them in penny sleeves and in like a card box, like a white card box that like folds over like you get from the LCS or whatever. And they only want them in penny sleeves. They don't want them in top loaders, which to me can be a little scary because I have a lot of Tyler Heroes and stuff I want to send in. And, even though they're raw, they're not cheap. But I guess it's easier for them, I guess, as far as taking up space and all. You can still pack them nice. And, well, they say if you send them in top loaders, it's just going to delay their processing. So if you send them in top loaders, you're going to delay the processing. I guess they're not going to refuse your cards, but maybe they will. Not really sure. Yeah, here's a 5 Michael Porter Jr. selects that are headed there. Whole bunch of Markelle Fultz optics. Markelle Fultz stuff is on fire right now. I talked about him a while. A couple more Kobe White prisms. Yeah, some Zach LaVine selects. I'm sending all this stuff into StarStock. I just don't want to mess with getting it graded. A whole bunch of Colin Sexton prisms. Those are only $3 a piece at a card show. But the ones that I'm really, scared about sending in because these are ones that I may want to get graded myself. Got a box next to me of cards if you didn't know. What am I looking at here? After I sold all my Prism Tyler Heroes, I wanted to get back in on Tyler Herro because, like I said, I like him long term. So I picked up a bunch of selects. Got some premier levels and some premier levels and some concourse. I bought them in a lot, got a really good deal on them. I think I might have paid $120 for all 12 of them. So that was like $10 a card. It was 7 concourse and 5 premier level. Now, I had to negotiate with the guy because he wanted more, but we went back and forth on a price, and finally he caved because the listing sat on eBay. I made him an offer. He countered back, and then he said somebody else was offering the same amount as me, but I made the offer first, so he was going to take my offer. And I was like, you know what? Go ahead and sell it to the other person if they're offering you a little bit more. And then they still sat on eBay for like another week and a half. And then I messaged him back. I was like, so I guess that other deal fell through. Either that or you were just lying to me to try to get me to come up to your price. And he eventually came down to my price. Is he? I don't use the tools. Now, guys, that doesn't mean I'm against them. And that doesn't mean I don't think that they're worth what you pay for them. Some people actually, that's how they get their content. It's nothing but a video of market movers. And that's all you see. Nothing against that, if that's what you like. And I even watch those sometimes. But to me, the fun is putting in the research on my own. And it doesn't cost me anything. $50, I guess, might be what the market movers cost is for a month. I could take that $50 and put it into a card and do my own research. That might sound cheap, but again, if I miss a card because I overlook it and miss it, then I overlook it and I miss it, and that's my fault. If I find a good deal and I profit off it, I feel even better because I found that on my own, and that's just the way that I look at it. I've been collecting for a long time, long before there was all kinds of data and all kinds of tools and things to use, which are very helpful and can save people a lot of time, especially when time is hard to come by. Time is a precious resource, but I just don't use them. To me, it takes away the fun. It takes away the hunt. And that's just me speaking personally. That's nothing against the products. If you want to use market movers or card ladder or any of that stuff, feel free, because I'm sure it's very good. I'm sure I'm sure it has very good information, but it's just not my thing. Sexton hasn't done nothing. He's averaged 22 points per game. That's 22nd in the league. Yeah, but I like Sexton because he can go out and he can blow up any night. I've bought Sexton. You just saw some prisms of him. So it's not like I'm saying Sexton when I say he hasn't done anything as far as make an all-star team or lead the league in scoring or win an MVP. He hasn't done anything along those lines. And I know he's young, but again, he's not even on a winning team. He doesn't have a winning season, so hasn't made the playoffs. So that's what I mean when a player hasn't done anything. There's lots of players who go out and put up points, and they may be the only player on their team that scores points. That could be why they're scoring points. It's not always just the running stat line on somebody that determines how good of a player they are, or that determines their legacy. I can name a lot of guys from the 80s and 90s that were big-time scoring machines, and nobody ever talks about them. I can go way back and talk about Bernard King. Half you guys here, well, unless you're old like me, don't even know who Bernard King was, but he was a scoring machine, and nobody talks about him because he didn't do much other than score points. Here we go. I hear what you're saying about Colin Sexton, but what's his value going to be in 5 to 10 years? I don't know. I'm not planning on holding my Colin Sextons for 5 years. Like I said, with me, these younger guys with hype around them put up some good games and I sell them. Like I just said, I'm sending all my Colin Sextons to StarStock to sell. I'm not investing in Colin Sexton long term. It's the same with baseball as well, though. Look at Pete Alonso, who hit 50 home runs. If he doesn't hit 50 home runs now, it's going to almost seem like it's a disappointment. Is he going to be a home run hitter for the next 5 years? He might be. But again, none of us can predict what these guys are going to do. It's not saying that baseball doesn't have value or basketball doesn't have value. It's just basketball is a quicker flip, plain and simple. That's just the reality of it. And I do invest and sell baseball, but I'm mainly buying guys that are superstars. Or guys with legacies. I'm buying Albert Pujols stuff. I'm buying in on some Miguel Cabrera stuff because these guys are going to retire and be Hall of Famers. Miguel Cabrera is probably going to hit 500 home runs this year. Pujols, if he plays 2 more seasons, is going to chase 700. He may never get there, but the fact that there will be a chase and every single one of his at-bats will probably be televised is enough to make me to want to invest in him. Not to mention that he's 5th all-time in home runs. Could be the first person to ever hit 700 doubles and 700 home runs in baseball history. Here we go. I was doing a bit of off research for oddball cards and rookies. What do you think of Matt Hoffman? When I think of BMX, I actually think of Dave Mirra first. Am I wrong to think that? I'm not really sure. Maybe I think, Chris, that you and I are probably around the same age because when I watch your videos, you make a lot of references that I would, especially the Beavis and Butthead stuff and the In Living Color stuff and all the things that I used to watch when I was a teenager. And I just remember I remember Dave Mirra the most, but I wasn't a huge BMX person. maybe Matt Hoffman, because you might know more about him because you were into BMX. I was more into like more skateboarding than I was BMXing. I grew up in a small town, so we didn't have places to ride or places to do tricks on bikes or anything, but we could tear up like the bank parking lot on our skateboards. Look at this real quick. Should I sell Kelly Oubre now? Has he done much in the preseason yet? I know that Steph Curry, but Kelly Oubre, he went to did he go to Golden State? So many guys moved. I think he went to Golden State, right? Or did he end up? Where did he end up? Steph Curry was the man last night for Golden State, though. I know a lot of people are asking about Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre and these guys who have a chance to shine. If you can sell those guys and buy Steph Curry, that's the man to buy. Again, like I talk about, I'm buying younger guys like Roy Hachimura and Tyler Herro and stuff. I think some of them have a little bit of longer-term appeal. But again, my main thing is to buy the younger players, and when they're hyped up, is to sell them, and then I invest safe. You see here. Dave G says, "Can I be a moderator?" Like, if I know how to make you a moderator, how do I do that? If I know how to do that, then yeah, you could be a moderator. Man, Lonzo Ball, I'm telling you. You telling me that, what, he's going to be really good or that he's overrated? I'm not really sure. He needs to work on his shot, and I honestly think that it's coming up to do or die time for Lonzo Ball. Josh Hart is there. He can play some guard still. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had a good game last night. Lonzo Ball is a great passer. Unfortunately, people don't buy your cards because you have a lot of assists. They buy your cards when you hit clutch shots and when you score points. And Lonzo Ball is struggling to shoot right now. I have a couple Lonzo Ball cards, but I'm not in on him heavily, especially when there's, there's going to be a lot of points scored by Ingram and if Zion stays healthy, those are going to be your point scorers. So I don't even know if Lonzo Ball will be the third or fourth option on that team when it comes to scoring points. Now, he'll be the ball handler and he'll get assists. But again, that's not what people buy cards based on. He could be a good player. It doesn't mean he's not going to be a good player. A lot of times when I talk about people, it doesn't mean they're not going to be a good player. I'm just talking about what's going to make them collectible. Collectability is what leads to value. Kane Smith, give me your wild opinion of your own on NBA first or second year player. A first or a second year player. Let's see. And you just want me to go out there and give somebody out there that might be a shot in the dark and might be a gamble, but could pay off for you? Or you want me to give you a guy that's like kind of known? There's a guy out there, 2018 would have been his rookie year. So I guess that puts him into his coming into his third season, but there's a guy named Himino Dilau or something, I can't pronounce his name. He plays for OKC. I like investing in some of the guys in OKC because you don't know who is going to emerge as the superstar there. SGA is getting a lot of hype and he's probably going to produce. And also Darius Bazley is getting some. But there's going to have to be a lot of young players in that organization that are going to have to step up and do stuff. And I think he's still really young, 2018 rookie class, and you can get his prisms, pretty cheap, and it could pay off for you in the end. Now, that's a shot in the dark. That's a long shot, a guy that I'm just kind of got in the back of my mind. If you can buy his prisms for like $5, you might want to pick up a handful of them. But go into that knowing that, hey, he might not produce, enough to get you some good returns. But sometimes you do got to take a stab on a player and gamble. Just don't overdo it and go out and buy a bunch of silvers and graded stuff. Okay, it says, I don't like that about StarStock. I'm not sure. Are you referring to the fact that they want you to send your cards in penny sleeves? That would be the only thing that I don't necessarily like about it right now. The buying and trading and stuff is super easy and convenient, and I like that. I sold 2 Darius Baisley Prisms on there today. I bought them off of there last month for $10 in a StarStock A, and I sold both of them today for $30 a piece. So I turned $20 into 60 without having to do any work except clicking my mouse and waiting for the hype on Darius Baisley. I mean, not Darius Baisley, Marvin Bagley. The hype to Marvin Bagley to build up. Carson, what's up, man? I've been watching your videos on GMA grading, man. It's very intriguing. I've even thought about doing a small submission just to see what it's like. I would say putting up points is the beginning. The next step is doing it at a level to get All-Star nominated. To take the next step, you got to win and start to create a legacy. Yes, that's true. So you got to look at your players and you got to be like, okay, he's putting up points, but that's all he's going to do. Flip now. Or you can look at a guy and be like, this guy has got future potential, a possible Hall of Famer, could win a championship, and then that's when you determine if it's a player you want to hold. And that's always going to be opinionated. It's always going to be what someone thinks about a player as opposed to what someone else thinks. And I never think that everyone should agree with my picks, because if everyone agreed with my picks, then that would be there's something wrong there. You know, that means that nobody's thinking for themselves. So yeah, I like it when people disagree with me. You know, I'm not here to, you know, it's not all about being argumentative or anything. It's just different points of view. And a lot of times I get turned on to a player by someone. You know, someone might say, well, I like this guy. And then I see a reason. I'm like, oh, man, that makes sense. You know, I don't claim to know who all the good players are going to be. I've been really lucky with my timing and a couple choices. And I just sell when I feel like I got a profit margin. Because you never know what is going to happen. You know, look at the stuff we went through this year. It's absolutely crazy. Let's see here. Jordan, what's up, man? It says, anyone ever had PSA tell them they wouldn't grade a card? I was told they had never seen my card and wouldn't grade it. Let's see. I've never had that issue. No, I know that someone in my last live stream had a card. PSA didn't grade it because they said it was trimmed. So that will happen. Sometimes they will not grade a card because it's a card that is easily counterfeited. If you look at the Star basketball sets that came out in the mid-'80s, like before the 86 Fleer and after like the 1980 Tops. So after Tops stopped printing and before Fleer started, you had some team sets that were produced by a company called Star. I'm not sure if they had a parent company or not. But those have Jordans and such in those and would be like true rookie cards. However, they're so easy to counterfeit that PSA won't grade them. Sometimes BGS will. You might find them BGS slabbed. But because you can't get grades on those, it doesn't give them, you know, it kills the value on them. You could say I have an 85 Star or 84 maybe even Star Michael Jordan. This is his true rookie. But without a grade on it, people are still going to want the 86 Fleer because it's his first major print and it's gradable. So I know that they turn those types of cards down. So it could be a situation where they have no idea what card you're sending them and how to research it, because apparently they do research your cards when they make the labels and stuff for them. So I know they have a little bit of issues sometimes with vintage soccer, because stuff that was printed before Panini was putting out stickers, most of your soccer rookie cards came off of tobacco products and ice cream bars and things like that from overseas over in Europe. And they have a hard time sometimes researching and labeling those correctly. It could be an issue with something like that. Thoughts on Tatum? Well, I'm a Celtics fan, so any thought that I give you on Tatum is going to be biased. Now, Tatum was one of my biggest flips of the year. Because I was a Celtics fan, I was buying a lot of Tatum stuff when it was dirt cheap, optics and selects. Unfortunately, I sent them to SGC. I got my grades back, so it cost me some profit. However, the profit margin was still really big because When I bought the optics, they were less than $10 a card. I bought 12 of them, 12 optics for $110 in a lot. And I bought 9 selects for $25. So I got 21 Jayson Tatums for like $135. Now they were all raw, they were all in lots. He hadn't really gone crazy yet, but I ended up submitting 13 of those 21, and only one of them came back a 9. All the others came back a 9.5 or higher. Actually, I'm giving away the optic 9 that came back. I'm giving away, if you guys have been watching my videos. I thought I brought the cards out here that I was going to give away, but I don't see them. But a Tatum Optic SGC 9 is actually in my giveaway. There's two videos ago. Once that reaches 200 likes, I'm giving away 2 of those cards that are in that video. There's a Herro Prism. They're all SGC 9s. There's a Herro Prism, a Tatum Optic. I might have a couple of those Tatums in here. I've moved a couple of those SGC 9.5s. Now, I was only able to move them for a little bit over $100 a piece. If I had them in PSA, it would have been a lot better. And I still have some of the Tatums left. I have right here, I have 2 selects. Here's a select and a 10, a select and a 10, and an optic and a 10. I still have those left from that lot. But yeah, I bought that lot, a bunch of Tatums, dirt cheap. It was one of my better flips of the year because I was in so early on them. Again, that wasn't me being psychic or anything. That was just me being lucky on my timing. You know, that wasn't me saying Tatum was going to be an all-star. I was a Celtics fan, and my timing was right. It wasn't me predicting that Tatum was going to break out. So it was luck. Pretty lucky. What is retail? Is it eBay auction sale price or buy it now price? eBay auction sell for 50% of the lowest buy it now price. Auctions do tend to go cheaper than buy it nows. I don't know if they go 50% cheaper because I do a lot of buying and I'll be in auctions. Sometimes an auction will go higher than a buy it now just because people get caught up in the auction and they don't want to lose. And they've been watching that card all week and they're going to win it. I've seen it. I've been in auctions that I've lost and gone and did a buy it now cheaper. So what I'll do on my watch list, I will have the card that I'm in the auction on, and then I'll find the cheapest buy it now and add it to my watch list. And if that auction goes above that buy it now, I'll dip out of that auction and I'll buy that buy it now. I've done that multiple times. So sometimes auctions go for more. In fact, I was talking about Luka Revolution PSA 10s earlier. I had one go up. I had one up for buy it now for $550 back when that card was hot, when Luka was hot, and well, he's still hot, but during the surge, I had it up for $550 buy it now. People were making me offers $475 and things like that, and I wouldn't sell it. It got to the point where I got annoyed because I was watching them sell. I was watching listings sell for $600, $625, and mine was at $550 and nobody was buying it. And I got annoyed, and I was like, the hell with it. I'm putting this at auction. These people want to keep making me lowball offers. I'm just going to put it at auction. I almost did it out of spite. And it went for over $700 at auction. I had a $550 buy it now on it. I removed it, put it at auction, and got over $700. So again, it's all in the timing and things like that. The best way to check your values is to go to a site like 130point.com or something like that and look at your eBay sales listings. It'll show you what things went for as a best offer. If it was listed with a best offer option, it'll show you what it actually sold for, and it'll show you auctions and things like that. That's the way to get a good roundabout market on a card by going over multiple comps, auction comps, buy it now comps, best offer comps. Average those together, you'll kind of get like a market on a card. Bernard K could dunk too. Do you collect invest in the first edition type rookie? I picked up the 98 top season opener Peyton Manning for $12. Peyton Manning stuff, I'm buying in moderation right now. Every time I find a good deal on a Peyton Manning, I buy it. I do believe he'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. I talked about him before. He's a 5-time MVP, the only player to ever be a 5-time MVP. The only person that might ever do that again would probably maybe be Patrick Mahomes. He's got enough Super Bowls to merit him being one of the best. He's got 2 championships. He was always there. When he retired, he was the winningest quarterback, held all the passing records. So I think he's undervalued. I wrote an article way back in the day when I was on a Facebook group before I got kicked off of it. Yeah, I got kicked off of a Facebook group that I wrote articles for. But I wrote an article comparing Peyton Manning and Tom Brady rookie cards. And I was talking about how the Bowman Chrome Peyton Manning at the time in a PSA 10 was like $3,000. The Tom Brady, I'm sorry, it was like $3,000. And the Peyton Manning, these guys mixed up. But the Peyton Manning was only like $150 in a PSA 10. A Bowman Chrome Peyton was like $150, and a Brady was like $3,000. And I wrote an article saying, this isn't right. I don't ever expect Manning to be worth what Brady is worth, but this is too big of a differential. And about a month later, Peyton Manning did the speech on for the NFL draft, talking about, how athletes and sports was going to help get us through this pandemic and all that. And by the end of that night, his PSA 10 Bowmans were pushing over $1,000. Now, it did have a little bit to do with him getting himself in the news and doing that speech, but it also had to do with the fact that the market just realized that, Brady was selling so much higher than Manning that the Manning cards had to come up some, and the market just adjusted itself. I got a bunch of Peyton Manning stuff. All different grades, all different products. I just like to show you guys when I talk about something, because I don't like to talk about something that I'm not currently doing or actually done. Manning. So yeah, these are all Peyton Mannings. This is a 9.5 flare showcase. This is a PSA 9 mint upper deck encore right here. I got 2 top stadium clubs, one in a PSA 10, one in an SGC 10. The Skybox EX in a Gem Mint 10. Leaf Rookies and Stars Gem Mint 10. Just goes on and on. Bowman, regular Bowman in a 9.5 and a 9. Bowman Interstate in a 9.5. Bowman Chrome in a 9.5, and a Bowman Chrome Interstate in a 10. So that was some Mannings that I picked up back when I was talking about them being way undervalued. Now I could flip these now and really make some profit, but I'm holding out for the Hall of Fame. And not only that, Peyton Manning is safe to hold for as long as you want to hold him for. He's already got that legacy intact. Guys, I'm way behind on comments. My goodness. Sorry. I'm trying to get to as many as I can. I've been going for an hour. I'll go for as long as you guys are here and want to ask questions. I don't really have a timetable. Where did I leave off? Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to. No, I didn't buy any Harry Giles. I had a couple optics and a couple prisms that were just out of packs that were put in my common pile, but I haven't bought any. Again, a lot of these guys is actually a sell now opportunity. These are guys that I was stuck with, in common piles. Now I would look to move them and get $20 here and there. It doesn't really matter. If you were to grade them by the time you would get them back, Lord only knows what the value on them would be. They might not even be on a team by the time you got them back. Do I watch much hobby content? If so, what types of videos are most informative? I watch a lot of hobby content. I watch them not always necessarily for the for the information. I watch them for entertainment a lot of times. I just like listening to people talk about the hobby. Whether I have different views or not, it's just fun to listen to everybody and also to support as many people in the community as I can. Les Alex, a lot of guys know him. Dustin, a personal finance dad. Ziggy, Chris, Vegas Fines has become one of my favorites also. I know I'm forgetting some, and I'm sorry if I have. I watch so many. Northeast Ohio. Now he just does like the market mover videos, but I watch them and I like them. I think they're pretty informative. Ziggy stuff is always informative because Ziggy stuff is all over the place. He talks about he touches on everything. Very different than everybody else. It's a good show to watch when you wake up every day, updates on stuff. There's more. I just like watching people go through their cards and things like that. It's just fun. Stuff that's entertaining to me. It's not always about buying and selling and stuff like that. I like mail days. There's some soccer guys that I like. I like Card Hour. TRKE, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. There's some more. If they pop into my head, I'll say something. Even some of the younger guys like Card Collector. He had some videos out there. I used to keep up with his stuff, man, just trying to support anybody who wanted to, talk about the hobby. Because without those guys, I wouldn't, I'm not a big channel by any means, but guys like Les Alex and Dustin and stuff, they have me on to live stream, and they don't have to do that because those guys are bigger channels than me. Like, having me on doesn't really benefit them at all. But they have me on, and it's awesome of them to do that. Oh, and I watch Carson Cruz, who's in the chat. He does a lot of GMA stuff. If you have any interest about GMA and things like that. Oh, my boy, Sports Card Mafia. His videos haven't been coming out as much, but I just like his videos. He's real chill and real relaxed, and he does some grading and some GMA stuff also. Oh, this is a big question right here. Will Zion cards jump to prices we saw this summer? Well, what was the peak we saw his Prisms at? Does anybody know? Because I wasn't invested in any graded Prisms of Zion. I bought 2 raw, and his debut game back when he was hitting those 3-pointers, I instantly sold him. I have a couple Zions now. I came back in on his selects in a PSA 10. I talked about how the market was behind on that card, and it was selling for $225, and his Prism was up around $700. And with all the other big-time players or big-time movers in the market, the select was worth about 60%, 60 to 70% of the Prism. But with Zion, his was only selling for about 30 to 40% of the Prism, which didn't make sense, even when ZA cards were selling at the 60 to 70% of the Prism. So the Zion Select, to me, was a great investment because it was going to just naturally get a market adjustment. He didn't even have to do anything. If you got in on that card when it was $225, it's already starting to adjust itself up to that $350 mark. And that's before he had that preseason game last night. So, again, that's when you want to look at the market and look at different things and look at trends and be like, why is this card trending differently than the rest? Sometimes the market just hasn't adjusted itself on those cards. I might have one to show you. Yeah, right here. This is it. This is one of them, 2019 Select. I picked up 2 of them before the market adjustment, $225 and $230, both at auction. Now they're pushing up towards $350. So already a profit on this card before I even started playing because of a little ripple in the market that went unnoticed for about a week and a half. There's another guy I'm seeing a lot about, Keldon Johnson. I haven't got in on Keldon Johnson because his Prisms on StarStock A have shot up over $22, $23 raw. To me, that's just hard to come in on, a raw Prism on a player that is a big question mark. With that being said, San Antonio does a good job of developing their young players, but San Antonio also is not very exciting. I mean, look how long it took Tim Duncan cards to go up in price. It was, and he was great. He's one of the all-time greats. probably a top 10 player of all time, won multiple championships. He's done it all. And look how long it took for his cards to get noticed just because he was in San Antonio. You know, I've been looking at some Lonnie Walker stuff just because he's a little bit cheaper. You can actually get his graded PSA 9s pretty cheap. Even in a silver, you can get a silver PSA 9 for like $60. And I think Lonnie Walker will get more playing time at first anyway. He'll be the player that they're going to at least try to work into the system first. Now, whether or not he capitalizes on that's to be seen. But I at least think that he's the guy that'll get the first opportunity. So he'll be the guy that is the earlier, quicker flip in my mind. Yeah, the thing about Zion is he doesn't have a minutes. He's not going to have a minutes restriction this year, apparently. So he said, which means he's going to get more playing time, and we'll just have to see if his body can hold up. We don't know. We'll have to see. Again, again, here's another thought. Zion gets injured. Yep. I mean, but that's the case for anybody. If anybody gets injured, their stuff is going to go down. I mean, look what happened with Klay Thompson. Everybody was buying his stuff coming off of the injury because his stuff had gone down in value. It became a good price point, and then it shot up because of everybody, you know, being like he's coming back, he's healthy, and then now he's hurt again, and now people bought in on those kind of high, and now they're stuck with them unless they dump to cut losses. But again, injury surrounds everybody. I mean, look at Dak Prescott in football, and football is more volatile, but still, who would have thought that gruesome injury would have happened to him this year? So you can pretty much say that about anybody now. Yeah, Zion has been injured. He is a big guy. Does he have 10 to 12 years of good basketball in him? I really don't know. I'm not saying like he's the next generational talent, but because he's exciting, he can give, you know, 4 or 5 really good years, and you can make money off of him in the short term. You don't have to, you know, everybody, you look at Zion, and a lot of people are looking at him. Is he long-term or isn't he? It really doesn't matter because you can capitalize on him right now. Just capitalize on Zion in the moment, and you can make money on him in the moment. But if you are looking at him long term, you put yourself at a risk. So, you know, if you make enough money, then you hold a couple long term, and you sell a couple, you know, to get your money back. It says I've gone black screen. Have I gone black screen? Is my screen working? I don't know. I'm just now getting to this comment. I see myself. I don't know. I was going to take this one. LT Smash, what's up, man? Is that like your initials? Or are you like Lawrence Taylor Smash or LaDainian Tomlinson? But yeah, Hamidou Diallo, this is the guy I was talking about earlier. If you wanted to take a shot in the dark on a player because he's affordable and someone on OKC has to step up besides SGA. And I don't know much about Anthony Simmons. I know he's not been starting in the preseason. I think he's on Portland. He's the kind of guy that, again, he's streaky. He'll put up a huge night and then come out and score nothing. He might put up 30 and then come out and score 2. So you don't know if he's going to develop into that player that can score all the time. If he stays in Portland, I might be wrong. I might be talking about the wrong player, but if he stays in Portland, he's not going to get a lot of opportunity to shoot because Lillard's there and that's his team. Even Carmelo Anthony coming off the bench or whatever, but see. Anthony Simmons could be good. You just never know. Like, everybody's not going to be good. I mean, if you guys go back over the history of the drafts and look at the top 10 picks over the last 5 to 6 years and tell me how many people actually in the top 10 are current superstars. Now, these guys might be coming off the bench or they might be having 10 to 12 point nights, but how many of these guys are all-star caliber players? You know, that's what you got to ask yourself. Here we go. We're back on Taylor Horton-Tucker. What's your opinion on him? I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't buy because he's too expensive. He's hyped up right now. 2 preseason games, and his optic raws are over $20. Well, I even saw one go on StarStock A for $40 because of the supply and demand. There wasn't – nobody had them listed, so somebody panicked, I guess, and bought one for $40. But, you know, if he keeps playing well, the shooting guard position, I don't know. Because they brought in the name slipping my mind, but they brought in somebody. He come from OKC, I can't remember. It's LeBron and Anthony Davis's team. Kyle Kuzma is going to take shots even if you don't want him to. He's just going to take shots. That's just what he does. And DeMarcus Cousins now playing center. They're going to get more out of their center than what they were getting last year. Their centerpiece last year was mainly just a defensive rebounding type guy that they put in the middle. But now, Montrezl Harrell, I'm sorry. But Montrezl Harrell is, now going to score points. It takes away from the guys on the outside. LeBron's going to run the point, which is going to make the shooting guard be guys, the name is slipping my mind. He's a good player. They just picked him up. I don't think Taylor Horton-Tucker falls into the starting position without there being an injury or something. Now, another team could like him and want him, and he could go to another team and get some playing time. Right now, I wouldn't buy. As far as selling or holding, that's really on you and what your thoughts on him are. If you think that he can be that guy, then hold. If you think that he's overrated or overvalued right now, sell. Either way you look at it, I don't really think he's a buy. All right, this is 2 parts. See, what's up, Steve? I know you're on your second go-around with Tyler Herro. I'm on my first. Are you selling soon or holding? I'm doing a little bit of both. I'm going to sell to recoup some of my investment, and I'm going to hold because I think he has long-term potential. He's on a good team. He's marketable. He's got a good look, and he can play. So that's a whole bunch of factors that I look at when I think if somebody's going to have a little bit long-term value. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but, he's a good, 4, 5, 6 month hold or, wait till the playoffs or something like that because the Heat are going to be around. They're going to generate buzz, and so is he. So, I just showed a bunch of selects that I bought for $120. Those selects are now, I bought them for $10 each, and now they're selling for about 30 to 40 a piece for the concourses, and I actually saw a premier level go for 50. So I might sell a couple to get my $120 back and then hold the rest. Or I might sell half of them, get some of my money back as well as some profit on top of it, and then hold the other half just because for me, Tyler Herro has some long-term appeal. Yeah, Carson, I agree. I think it's the verdict's out on Garland a little bit, though, because he's already dropped some buckets in the first 2 games. I said earlier I actually sold a Colin Sexton silver prism and used that money to buy 2 Garlands so that I have a little bit of investment in both players. Basically, it was a trade. It was pretty much even up. I traded or sold 1 PSA 9 silver prism Colin Sexton for 2 and used that money to buy 2 Garland silver prism PSA 9s. The exact same sale point for the exact same cost. It was almost just like a swap. What's up, JPO Art, man? How you doing tonight? See, that comment came in at 8:02 and it's 8:24. Man, I'm way behind on comments. What's up, Steve? Guys, I'm trying to catch up. He's probably not even around anymore. Good. All right, I think I'm caught up. Let's see. There you go. Schrader, that's the guy. I believe he's going to play the shooting guard unless he is a small forward. But He's going to get a lot of scoring opportunities too. There's just too many mouths to feed there for the Lakers, barring something catastrophic. All right, I'm scrolling back up now to get back up in these. All right, so back to Keldon Johnson. I know a lot of people are high on him. He didn't play in the first game. I don't know what the issue was. Did the coach was his coach's decision? Is he hurt? Did they want to see other players? I'm not really sure. I will tell you a Spurs player that I bought in on because he was so super cheap. They were like 40 cents a piece for the Prisms on StarStock. And yeah, that was Quindary Weatherspoon. I bought like 10 of them. Now they were only 40 cents, so I paid $4 for 10 of them. And it's just another long shot in the dark. He may never even play. He might be in the D League the rest of his life. But like I said, San Antonio develops their young players well. So he could be a guy that finds the court. And even if they hit a $5 price point, I only bought him for 40 cents. Got hiccups. Loud. Yeah, like I said, for Keldon, for me, it's not that I don't think he has a chance. For me, I didn't get on him early enough. I just don't like his prisms at $20+ raw. That's for me. It's not a knock on him as a player. Like when I look to invest, it's not always about a player's potential. It also has a lot to do with the price point. Denver Nuggets have a good rookie pool this year. Are you referring to 1920 with Bol Bol? Because I know E-Man, Tony in the house. I know you're a Bol Bol guy. I have a hard time seeing potential in Bol Bol just because I'm old enough to remember Manute Bol. So, it's a bad way to look at it, but I'm just old enough to remember Manute. So when I look at Bol Bol, I just see so much of his father in him that it's hard for me to spend money on him. If you believe in Zion, buy Ingram because Ingram is cheap as hell. Don Russ 5 to 10, Mosaic Silver 30 to 40. That's true again. I mean, Brandon Ingram's a good player that's going to score, but we talked about this with multiple players. Even though Brandon Ingram is probably the best player on that team, the player that everybody talks about is Zion. They just do. It's the buzz. Brandon Ingram plays great, but he needs a little bit more to just go along with his stat line. Now, maybe they'll make the playoffs this year and they won't fall off. Maybe not. I did invest in Brandon Ingram selects last year, select silvers, and I've sold them all, and I did well on them, but I'm not reinvesting in him just because the West is very tough. I don't see the Pelicans, even if they make the playoffs, really going super deep. And whether, Ingram's the best player on that team or not, they put the games on television because of Zion. They have commercials because of Zion. It's Zion, Zion, Zion. It may not be, and it might not be rightfully so. Maybe he shouldn't get the attention. Maybe Ingram should get more attention, but he just doesn't. And again, there's more that goes into a card's value than a player's performance on the court. Again, Zion is still the talk of the hobby. There's been more questions and comments about him, whether they're good or whether they're bad. It's still Zion talk. And any talk about a player, that's the first time Ingram has been mentioned in this stream, and Zion has been mentioned multiple times. So again, just in this small little stream that I have going on, everybody's talking about Zion. That makes guys like Ingram fly under the radar, and it could make them a good buy. And he's a great player, scores points, like I've said. But again, when you think of the Pelicans, you think of Zion, and he's only been there for a year. And it may not be right, but unfortunately, it's just the way that it is right now. It's just like with the Celtics, and I'm a Celtics fan. You know, you think about Tatum, but guys like Jaylen Brown are great, and Kemba Walker's really good. I mean, I know he's hurt, but you know, Kemba Walker's got a little bit of a background. He's been a good player for years. And Jaylen Brown scores almost as many points as Tatum does. But Tatum is the guy that everybody talks about, and he's the guy that has the most value because he's the guy that everybody talks about. That's kind of how I look at Brandon Ingram, along the lines of a Porzingis or a Jaylen Brown, somebody like that who is secondary person on their team. I mean, it's even happening with Anthony Davis because of LeBron. If you notice the market, Kawhi has gone up. You know, lots of people from the 2012 rookie class have gone up, but Kawhi has seen increase in cards. Luka, Tatum, Trae Young, a lot of players, and Anthony Davis hasn't seen an increase in the market. I think it has a lot to do with, because when you think of the Lakers, you think about LeBron. Even though without Anthony Davis, they're probably not a championship team. Kyle Guy hit a game-winning 3 last night. Yeah. This comment's 10 minutes old. My thoughts on Brandon Clark. He's a name that I've seen pushed around, but again, he's not a guy that I've done a lot of research on, just because I don't research everybody. I pick a handful of guys, and that's just kind of what I go with. And again, it could cost me to miss out on somebody, but Brandon Clark is just a guy that I haven't done a lot of research on. I've heard him talked about a lot. LeBron praises everybody that he plays with when they're young. He always talks about, oh, this guy, man, watch out for him in his future. He's done it on other teams with other players, and players that you probably never even heard of or never even heard of from again. So, yeah, with social media and LeBron saying something like that, people are going to buy into it. But again, it's hype. Let's see. Do I think the Suns will squeak in the 8th or 7th seed? Well, let's run down the teams. Of course, you have the Lakers and the Clippers and the Nuggets. Mavericks, maybe. They're going to have to stay healthy. I mean, Luka can do a lot for that team, but he needs somebody else. Porzingis needs to stay healthy. Another thing, I've said this before, Luka's going to miss games. And I'm not trying to jinx him or anything, but he's going to miss some games because he has ankle issues. And whether people believe that or not, just look at his history. He may not go on the injured reserve list or anything like that, but he'll miss 2 or 3 games here or there with ankle problems. He even had it happen to him in the bubble where he hurt his ankle. He's had multiple ankle tweaks. Now, they might not be injuries, but you'll see multiple ankle tweaks throughout his career. I don't know if it's because he bulked up and was muscular, and maybe it's a Zion situation. He wasn't as big as Zion, but maybe his ankles weren't good for supporting the style of play that he does with all of the cuts and things like that, with the extra muscle on his frame. But I've said this for a long time, that Luka always tends to have a nagging ankle injury. And sometimes he plays through it and sometimes he can't. And playing through it isn't going to help his longevity at all. But Luka's going to have to stay healthy. He's going to need somebody else like Porzingis to stay healthy for them to be strong again. Could the Blazers fall out of there? I really don't know. The Blazers got in last year because they got healthy. Can the Suns play the way that they played in the bubble? That's hard to say. They brought in Chris Paul, and I really don't know why. Because the team was playing great down the stretch and in the bubble. They were playing great. Did they really need someone else to come in? Or is that going to mess up the team chemistry some? That was Devin Booker's team. Now is that Chris Paul's team? So there's going to be some question marks around them. So you look up and down their roster and you're like, oh, man, they got better on paper. But did they get better really as a team as far as chemistry goes? A lot of talent on the team. They're very young. If they do squeak in, I don't look for them to make much noise. Now, we could be here months from now, and they could be one of the top 3 teams in the West. But, I wouldn't put money on that. But they got a lot of young talent. I like their future. I just don't really know how much Chris Paul really does for that team, considering that they were playing really well with what they had. A lot of times adding a superstar to your lineup doesn't make you a better team. It actually hurts team chemistry. Talked about Kobe White earlier. His prices, I guess it depends on what you're looking at, is reasonable. His raw prices to me are not reasonable anymore. Raw Prisms are like $40. PSA 9s are like 50 or 60. I would rather spend the extra money on a PSA 9. I think that's reasonable. PSA 10s are up around 200. So you're looking at $200 for a Kobe White PSA 10 Prism. That's not cheap. To me, to some people, that might not be anything. It might be a drop in the bucket. But to me, that's not cheap. But it could be a good value. It doesn't mean that it's not a good value. Sometimes a card is a good value, even though it's expensive. I think Barrett is overpriced. I'm reading this. I'm not saying this for me. I think Barrett is overpriced, in my opinion. Plays for a trash organization, and they won't develop him the right way, even with Thibs there. Yeah, I kind of agree as far as he's a victim of circumstance / situation. Being on the Knicks is not going to do any favors for him. It would have been great if he ended up with a team like the Nets and was coached by Steve Nash. That would have been perfect because he's actually got, ties to Steve Nash. The Nets should ship out Kyrie for another talented player and a young player and let them get coached by Steve Nash and keep Kevin Durant as their leadership and mentor for some younger players. That's my thought on the Nets, but I am not a huge Kyrie fan. Some of you guys might be. But, yeah, I think Barrett is a pretty decent player and has potential. I think he's in a bad situation. I believe the same thing, and I believe his price is StarStock Raw. Now, I don't know eBay prices, but StarStock Raw Prisms are like $50, and that's a lot of money for somebody who is probably not going to sniff the playoffs for the next couple of years. Oh, guys, looking. I hear you on Weatherspoon. I bought 15 Terrence Davis of Raptors for $5. Then days later, his dumbass got arrested for domestic violence. Yeah, if you can buy like Prism rookies on StarStock for like 50 cents, 40 cents of a guy that you think is in a good organization, that's key. Good organization, just like we just touched on with RJ Barrett. And you think that they can develop a player and that they're going to have playing time available, then it doesn't ever hurt to take a flyer if you can buy 10 Prism rookie cards of somebody for $5, because it only takes one good game to get all your money back on one card. And like what I'll do is I'll look and see who's playing tonight, and I'll go and look at those guys and see if any of them are cheap, and be like, okay, this guy is a bench player, but he's going to get minutes in the preseason, and people are going to buy into it. Landry Shamet on a contending team. I just don't. Again, he played on the Clippers last year, I believe, and really didn't get a whole lot done playing with Kawhi and Paul George. So I don't necessarily know if he'll get a lot done playing with Kyrie and Kevin Durant. I think it's going to be another situational thing. Now he is going to the East. That might be a little bit easier for him. The team's going to be good, but so were the Clippers. The Clippers were good too. So I don't really look at it as big as much of a change other than who he's playing with, but he's still playing with two all-star caliber players like he did last year. He's playing on probably one of the better teams in the East. Last year he was on one of the better teams in the West. Not a whole lot big-time change. And I just don't know, how much cake he's going to get to eat. It's like Kyrie and Durant, they like to shoot. What do I think about the 29-year-old European rookie card or rookie Facundo Campazzo on the Nuggets? He looked okay and can still get Rookie of the Year. To be honest, you lost me at 29 years old because when I look for potential, I look for guys that are young, that even if they fail on the organization or with the organization that they're in, they still have time to be moved and developed somewhere else. So I look for these guys that are 21, 22. If they're not rookies, I still like for them to be, some guys are coming into like their third year and stuff like De'Aaron Fox, and he's still only like 21 or 22, I think. So for a guy to already be 29 years old, to me, is a bit of a turnoff because he doesn't have much time. He doesn't have much time to prove himself, and he doesn't have much time to build a legacy, especially if you're looking long term. A lot of these guys are coming to the NBA in their early 20s or even 20 or 19. Like Zion coming when he was 19. If he makes it till he's 29, he's 10 years in. He's got 10 years of legacy to someone who's already coming in when they're 29 years old. It's just, to me, it's a tough investment. Even if he's really good. There's some good players that are playing well right now in preseason, and when I look at them and I see that they're older guys, I think like Patty Mills on San Antonio and Hassan Whiteside on Sacramento. I mean, these guys are playing well, but they're older, and people just aren't really interested in investing in them. Devontae Graham, I like quite a few of the players in Charlotte. Now, I don't know if they're going to be any better or be a playoff team. I like Devontae Graham. I like P.J. Washington a little bit better because of his price point. Not because I necessarily think he's a better player, but because of his price point, and he's definitely going to get to play that small forward position. So P.J. Washington's going to get a lot of minutes. Devontae Graham's going to get a lot of minutes as well, but it's going to depend on which guard position they have him play. And, LaMelo Ball is there. He's going to generate the hype, at least short term. Now, if he comes in and he really stinks it up, the hype is going to be gone. And you're just going to hope that Graham and guys like P.J. Washington, Terry Rozier is there too, so that makes for a crowded backcourt. Right now, the backcourt belongs to Graham and Rozier, I believe, and LaMelo Ball is just the rookie that's on the outside looking in. But they drafted him in the first round. They're going to have to pay him. He's going to generate a lot of hype. He's probably going to sell a lot of jerseys, and they're going to have to get him into the lineup. So someone is going to lose playing time. I think that Charlotte should move on from Terry Rozier, but I don't know if anybody wants to take him off of their hands. Yeah, I've noticed these two guys too. They're trending on StarStock pretty good the last couple of days. When you look in sales volumes, they're both moving. But I believe Dylan Windler, is he on the Cavs? Again, a team that's going to struggle and it's got a crowded backcourt. He may not be on the Cavs, but I could be wrong. But yeah, he might have a few good games. But if he's playing in the backcourt for the Cavs, that's crowded. I don't know much about the Cavs, the rest of their lineup, other than the guard rotation that they have running right now. So, yeah, he's on the Cavs. Now, is he playing guard? Because you're looking at Sexton, Kevin Porter Jr., and Darius Garland, who are all guys that everyone has talked about liking tonight. You just, again, I can't stress enough, you can't like everybody. You can't be like, okay, KBJ, Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, they're all going to blow up, and so is Dylan Windler, because one of the four is probably going to be worth investing in, if that. Let me see. So I see we're talking about Cameron Johnson and Buddy Hield. So yeah, maybe their age might be about the same. The thing is that Buddy Hield has mileage on him. You know, he's been playing. He's probably been playing maybe since 2016. I could be wrong. There's a lot of dates and stuff to remember, but Cameron Johnson was just a draft pick last year. So as far as NBA mileage and wear and tear, Cameron Johnson is younger from a body standpoint there, although technically they're the same age. Yeah, some guys are real young. Booker's real young. You know, Giannis is young. These guys just come into the league young. But some of them come into the league prematurely, and it takes them a while to develop. You know, they might come in at 20 years old, and they might not be good until they're 23 or 24, where some guys might come into the league at 23 and 24 and already be matured enough because they played more time in college to where they can adjust to the NBA game a little bit easier. And they're also got more of a man build to them. That was the one thing on Tyler Herro. I thought he was a little frail, and if he muscled up a little bit, he could be a lot more effective. So, you know, when a 19-year-old or 20-year-old is coming out, and in most cases, now not in Zion's case, but in most cases, these guys are, you know, not necessarily what we would call a man yet as far as strength and things like that. And that can play a lot into your NBA development and developing other aspects of your game, such as low post and backing down and things like that, and also defense. So Buddy Hield has been killing it. Yeah, he's put up points. He takes a lot of shots. Like, you'll look at his shooting percentage sometimes, it'll be pretty bad. And like, I was watching the Kings in the bubble last year when they were trying to get in, and he was scoring points, but I think he was doing it at the cost of the team because he was taking some crazy shots. Again, another one of those guys that scores points but doesn't have much else around him. A lot of times it could be as much as someone's name that adds appeal to them. I mean, look at the names like Tyler Herro. I mean, his last name is Herro. That just psychologically clicks with people as somebody that they want to look at. Zion, I mean, the name Zion, the name Ja, that's just catchy. Buddy doesn't sound very catchy to me. Buddy sounds like, hey, buddy, what's up? Like the old doll, my buddy. Just not very appealing. That's to me, but there's a train in the background. You guys probably heard it. Let's see. Yeah, their game adjusts faster, but they don't last as long. But again, that depends on if you're looking at these guys as long-term holds. If you're not looking at them as long-term holds, then they don't need to last very long. They just need to last a season or a couple months to give you a flip opportunity. You know, not everybody in the NBA is going to be a Hall of Famer, even if they're putting up 20 points a night. Yeah, Herro, that's a big thing I liked about Herro is his marketability. Like, they still use that snarl that he had in the bubble as like memes and stuff like that. And I talk about this a lot. I watched a lot of his high school videos and things. And when he came out and he was going to go to Wisconsin and then decided to go to Kentucky, how the people in his home state, because he's from Milwaukee, I believe, they hated him. They said he was a traitor. They said he would never play in Kentucky. He would ride the pine, that he would never make it. You know, they just turned on him like that. And he used that as fuel to make himself better. He used that as motivation. Now, whether you like some of his antics on the court, some of the faces he makes and things like that, he worked hard to get to where he's at. And in the bubble, he didn't take a play off, man. He hustled because he knew that by hustling, he would get himself in the position to get more minutes and to get more opportunity with the ball. So, he's a smart guy, even though he doesn't really, he may not portray that because of his look, but he's worked hard to get to where he's at. Barring an injury, that's why I like Tyler Herro a little long term, just because he's very marketable. I could see him having his own clothing line or something just because of that. Whatever. Let's see. Yeah, My Buddy. Does anybody remember the My Buddy doll from way back in the day? It was like My Buddy, and then they made one for the girls. It was called Kid Sister. I don't know if anybody here is as old as I am and remembers that mess. No, you're right, Dave G. The last name is not catchy, but the name Giannis that we all know him by, that's catchy. Nobody even calls him by his last name. He's known as Giannis. When you're known by just your first name only, or like in soccer, when you're known by one name, Lionel Messi, how many people call him that? They just call him Messi. We all know who Messi is. We all know who Giannis is. You don't have to call him by his first and last name. Like Ronaldo. Herro, always been hated. Funny how that hasn't changed. I guess it depends on who your opinion on, who hates him. I mean, the hobby doesn't tend to hate him. I mean, he's one of the most bought and sold cards on StarStock and on eBay right now in sales volume. He's selling just as high as everybody else. Yeah, My Buddy and me. I remember My Buddy and Teddy Ruxpin and Grubby. I said that I work at a casino. Do I do any sort of gambling? Like, do I do for card investment? No, I don't gamble as far as casino gaming or slot machines or anything like that. I just don't. I work in a casino, so I don't spend my time in a casino. However, investing in cards, you could call it gambling. A lot of it is ratios, numbers, and things like that. So money. So has a lot in common. A lot of what I see at work, I do apply to my outlook on investing and playing, and that's why you hear me say the word safe a lot, because I see people literally lose it all on a regular basis. So that's why you hear me talk safe all the time. And when I say lose it all, I don't mean they bought a stack of cards that the player tanked. I mean, I'm talking about bad. So maybe that's taught me a lesson, but that's my thoughts on that. I think Cam and McCall were way better investments than Ayton. I actually got a couple Cam Johnson cards. I didn't go hard, but I got a couple. I think Cam Johnson, has potential. Again, there's a lot of mouths to feed now. All of a sudden, Booker's going to take his shots. He might lead the league in scoring this year. And Ayton's going to get his inside presence. Now, is Isaiah Roby playing there with the Suns? Because he could be sneaky. I think he may have actually got to start in their first game at the small forward position. And if Isaiah Roby can put up a couple decent nights, I can see him being a quick flip, a really quick flip though. But his stuff's dirt cheap also. And with so much buzz around the Suns, people are looking for that third and fourth option. That's the only reason we've really been talking about Cam Johnson recently, is because of the fact that he's the buzz around the Suns. If there was no buzz around the Suns, we really would still just be talking about Devin Booker. maybe Ayton a little bit because he's a big man. But Cameron Johnson really started getting talked about because of the buzz around that team. That team generated that for him, not his play on the court. So, a player like Isaiah Roby could get out there and put up a couple nights, and that's all it takes is some buzz to quick flip his stuff. All you Facebook groups, people say he's overrated. Who are we talking about that's overrated? Hey, Junk Wax Air, who are we talking about overrated? I'm trying to find out. I don't know who they're referring to as being overrated. Maybe you guys were talking about it in the comments, and I just can't see everything. Maybe Tyler Herro. I'm not sure. That was the last person you were talking about. Yeah, Jokic cards are expensive right now. They've gone up. They've moved on StarStock and stuff. He's seen volume increase in sales and price increase. Very few bigs in the NBA get a lot of notoriety. It's just not the day of the big man anymore. Now, back in the day when I was collecting, it was all about the big man. It was all about Shaq. It was all about Hakeem, Patrick Ewing. That's just to name a few. But it was all about the big man. David Robinson, it was the guys like that you really had to have a good center in order to win in the NBA. Nowadays, it's a shooting game. It's completely different. There's big guys who are there to just kind of clog up the middle and pull down some rebounds. However, a guy like Jokic, they run the offense through him, so he's slightly different. He can bring the ball up the court. He can pass. He can shoot threes. So he's almost a guard in a center's body. And they do. They have offenses where they actually run the offense through him. They don't run it through like guys like Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. Those guys score their points, but you'd be surprised how many times Jokic will lead that team in assists because they run the offense through him. That's what generates a lot of value around his cards. He's the centerpiece of that offense. No pun intended. A lot of times the center is no longer the centerpiece of a team's offense. However, if you find a team that still utilizes their center as their mainstay, that center or that big man can have some value. Okay, thanks for correcting me, man. Isaiah Roby's on the Thunder. So he's one of those guys on the Thunder that you could take a flyer on because you really don't know what's going to happen there. A lot of people are buying shy cards, and you got Isaiah Roby, you got Hemido Dillau, who we were talking about earlier. You got Darius Baisley. Any one of these guys could be the other scorer on that team, and a lot of them have really, really dirt cheap price points. So to me, it's worth taking a gamble if you can buy Isaiah Roby Prisms for $1 on StarStock. Try to do it on a platform where you don't have to pay a bunch of money for shipping, where you actually pay more for your shipping than for your cards, because that really will cut into your profit on a $1 card that you might want to flip for $5 or $6, in a couple days. That shipping can kill you. But taking a stab at there's two situations. I look at the Cavs backcourt and I look at any of the young players on Oklahoma City, because you don't know who is going to be the guy there that's going to be the next hyped up player. I don't know. And you guys are arguing about Jokic a lot. Currently right now, I believe Jokic is the top price grabber in Denver. Now, Jamal Murray could pass that, but we need to see. The thing about Jamal Murray is he had a great bubble. he hasn't done much outside of that. And, you know, all the eyes were on him because of the situation in the playoffs, and he was absolutely lights out. And the same thing, but Jokic has put together multiple good years, and he has international appeal. That's one thing you can't ignore, is the fact that has the European market as well. That's always a factor when it comes to buying and selling. A little bit of NFL real quick. So, investing in defensive players. Now, the only time I would ever invest in a defensive player is if I thought that defensive player could be the face of the franchise. Now, we saw that with San Francisco before Nick Bosa got hurt. His cards had value because he had quickly became the face of that franchise because the offense wasn't exciting. The quarterback wasn't very exciting. And their defense is what carried the team. So Nick Bosa became the face of that franchise. When you think about the New York Giants, you think about Lawrence Taylor. So, of course, his cards hold value even though they're vintage. So you got to look at players from that aspect. Chase Young on the Washington football team. I don't think he's established himself as the face yet. I don't even think you can name a face of that team because they don't even have a name. And they're not very exciting. They would have to put themselves into a deep playoff run to generate any kind of hype. I mean, they're literally boring to watch. I can say that about my favorite team. I like the Dolphins, and I watch them on television, and I only get excited because they're my favorite team. But to literally sit and watch them, they're just boring. So defensive players, unless they're all – I mean, anytime you think somebody might be an all-time great, you can invest in them. But, you know, there's no real quick flip opportunity on defensive players unless they're the absolute face of the franchise. And normally that's the quarterback. So look at a team that might have a quarterback that's underperforming or not very good, that's carried by the defense. San Francisco last year, for example, and they adopted Nick Bosa as the face of their team, which made him highly collectible by 49ers fans and just also made him collectible in the hobby. This year, I don't really see that with any players. Even though Chase Young is good, he has the Ohio State appeal. You're always going to have Buckeyes fans, which is another thing to look at is college. You know, if all else fails in someone's career, are they collectible in their college? That's always another safe route. So, yeah, eBay is changing some of their shipping policies. They're also supposed to change some policies on seller protection because right now they heavily favor the buyer in any dispute. So I'll have to see what that is. I've really steered clear of eBay other than buying, at least for the past 2 weeks. I've done a lot of selling through StarStock just because I was in a dispute with somebody over a card that was sold to them over 2 months ago. And they claimed that it was a cracked PSA case when they got it. You know, they got it on September 25th, and they filed a dispute against me on November 29th. Now, I won the dispute, needless to say. They actually ruled in my favor. But, you know, to me, it's like if someone falls on hard times or has buyer's remorse, they can instantly get a return on you. And when you're selling some expensive cards, like over $1,000 a card, and someone just burns you for a return, you know, you may have taken that $1,000 and invested into something else, and then 2 weeks later, somebody's looking for a return. I've only ever had one return happen, and that was that one. Luckily, I just ordered a card in the mail. It was just a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar 2018 Prism parallel, numbered out of 80. It was in a PSA 10. And when I got the card in the mail, it was actually a Don Russ Baker Mayfield BGS 9.5. So right now I'm talking with the seller about that because he sent my card to somebody else and sent somebody else's card to me. So he's got to get that card back before I can even send him my card back to get the card I was supposed to get. Let's see. Sorry, I'm quiet, guys. Just reading through the comments. Yeah, guys, I'm 2 hours in. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. We're still got 46 watchers, it looks like, which is pretty good. We were up over 50, which is pretty awesome. Man, this is another tough one here. Offensive lineman. Maybe the greats of the greats, and they have to like be retired and in the Hall of Fame. So Anthony Munoz, John Hanna, some of your old-time greats, some guys from the 90s like Jonathan Ogden, you know, some of the guys from the Dallas Cowboys 90 teams. However, those were junk wax era, so that's going to hurt their value to begin with, not even only the fact that, yeah, Jonathan Ogden, but he's in 96, I believe. So, again, mass-produced cards. They'll have some value always to the collectors, but they'll never see if you're asking if they'll ever see position player or quarterback prices, I don't think so. Yeah, even Joe Thomas, who was good, but they're great players. But again, people have to be able to relate with a player. They have to be able to relate with a personality. That's what draws people towards players a lot more than anything else. And in the NFL, they all wear helmets. You never hardly see their faces, especially offensive linemen and defensive players. You see the quarterbacks because they're the ones that get all the interviews and stuff, whether they do good or whether they do bad. And that's why people relate to the quarterbacks and some of the position players that are a little more outspoken and a little more, you know, buzzy and popular. But offensive linemen, all you know is the name on the back of the jersey. You could see their face and not even know who it is. And that's hard to relate to, especially when you want to collect somebody. All right, guys, it's 7 after 9. I've been on for 2 hours. I'm going to wrap it up by 9:15. If you guys have any last questions you want to get in or just talk about anything in general. If you haven't seen my video for 2 videos ago, go back and make sure you click the like on that so I can go ahead and do that giveaway, guys. And I'll have a video out tomorrow evening probably. It's a mail day with a little bit of soccer, some NBA, stuff like that. If you're interested, make sure you check it out. Here's one. Cam Reddish. Now, I liked Cam Reddish also. He's good. He's pretty explosive. His field goal percentage last year was pretty bad, even when he put up points. But Atlanta signed so many free agents that I thought it hurt the value of Cam Reddish and even DeAndre Hunter. However, DeAndre Hunter is getting the playing time at the small forward spot. So it looks like right now Hunter is going to get the playing time because he's a better defender. And they need defense on that team. They have scorers. They have John Collins, Trae Young, and a couple of the guys that they picked up that can score, but they need defense on that team. So DeAndre Hunter will get playing time, more playing time, just because he's a defender, and that will lead to points. That will lead to 15 points, 17 points here and there. I don't think it'll lead to any big 30-point nights for a guy like DeAndre Hunter, but it'll lead to playing time and it'll lead to some points. And a guy like Cam Reddish right now will probably be put on the back burner by the team just because Atlanta looked like they went from being a poor team to a win-now team, the way that they were trying to play the free agency market. It looked like they want to win right now. They think that Trae Young is coming into his prime, and they want to win with him right now. So, unfortunately, for some of these other younger guys, they're going to take a back seat to some of these veteran free agents that they brought in. It could be a good buying window because his cards, they're going to go down because at one time Cam Reddish cards had hit high values. In a PSA 10, they were over $100. So, if it drops him down, because he is a product of Duke. So if it drops him down, you can have a good window to buy. But I would wait for that to happen. I wouldn't go in on Cam Reddish right now. I would wait. Yeah, Tal, I was showing some DeAndre Hunters earlier. I still have them right here. And the funny thing is that I bought this lot of 20 plus to Andre Hunter Prisms way back in February for $17. It was less than $1 a card, and it actually had a Cam Reddish on top. That's the funny thing. We're talking about these two players, but it had a Cam Reddish on top, and then all the rest of them were DeAndre Hunters. And that was a $17 lot. So that goes to show you how far the market has come just since February, where now these on StarStock A are like 20 bucks. That's where these are all in penny sleeves. They're all going to StarStock A or to StarStock. I'm going to try to flip them while I can because I got them so cheap. I'm not going to risk sending them in to get them graded. I'm just going to try to flip them for 20 bucks a piece, considering I got 20 of them for 17 bucks. Yeah, Carson, you're right. It's tough because there's just so many. I like to take a list, and you can miss out on guys and miss out on profit, and you can't be scared of missing out on a player, because if you're scared to miss out on a player, you'll invest in everybody, and then you'll just be in too deep. So find the 10 guys that you like, and then pick out maybe 4 or 5 of them, and just kind of go with it. You may make the right choices. All 5 of them may be profitable. You may only hit on 2 or 3. All 10 of them on your original list might be profitable, and you might be like, man, I should have just bought all 10. But, diversifying is good, but diversifying too much can be bad. Oh, man, Classic Pack Attack. I wish that I did have some new wrestling stuff to show. The last thing I actually bought was the Stone Cold magazine, the yearbook with the Stone Cold in it. I don't know if you saw the Andre the Giant cards that I picked up. They're in here somewhere with some random stuff. If you haven't seen them, I'm just going to show them real quick. Man, a bunch of stuff in here. Bunch of random stuff. Here they are. These are from the Takara Japanese wrestling game, 1981. Andre the Giant cards. And what it was a board game, and you flip the card over and it had a number on it, like 3, and that's how many spots on the board you would move. Now, his Wrestling All-Stars card is a 1982. That's considered to be his rookie. However, this game was printed in 1981. So technically this card is older than what they call his rookie card. And you can grab these for like a fraction, like 5% of what his rookie cards sell for. Like you can find these for like $10, and there's none graded in the market. If PSA will grade these, then it's a good market to capitalize on because there's no supply. Just a cool little out of nowhere. All right, guys, it's 9:14. We're winding her down. Thanks for hanging out with the live stream. We hit 50 plus, which is awesome. I guess got a little blurry. Don't know what happened. Your camera's overheating. But, yeah, Andre the Giant. See if I can fix my camera. All right, there we go. See if I got 1 or 2 more questions and then we'll be done. What's up, Jason, man? I'm about to wrap up. I'm glad you can make it in here at the end. Real quick, thoughts on Mosaic appreciating more over the years. It all depends on if Panini continues to put out more products with the shine and the chromium finishes. They could come out and put out another product next year that surpasses Mosaic. Right now, my favorite product out there is Select. For the price, hobby only, less print runs, better quality control, so your grading, your chance of getting good grades back is better. Or even pulling a nice card out of a pack that's not completely off-centered or scratched up or surface dimples. I just like the Select. That's the problem with Mosaic, is pulling them out of the packs. They're already really scratched up, very sensitive, condition-sensitive cards. And I don't know. I don't like just the silver back with just the person's body on it. That's me personally. I think Mosaic will hold there for a while, right around the fourth or fifth product that everybody likes. And the big names will always have some value, like, Luka and, players that their other cards are so expensive that it brings up the value of the lower tiered stuff, like I talked about earlier. But for guys that you want to prospect with, I would stick to the top three because it's going to take a lot for the Mosaics to get pulled up. I mean, if you go on StarStock and look at Prism in comparison to Mosaic, the Prisms move liquid all day long, and the others, like Mosaic, they just aren't as liquid either. Yeah, Dwayne Johnson card's off the hook. But all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and check out. Thanks for joining me. I'll do another one of these. Maybe I'll make it a weekly thing. Maybe I'll start doing one video and one live stream a week because I'm able to interact with you guys more here and answer some questions. And the interaction is more fun, and honestly, it's a lot easier than doing a video as well. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you next time. And like I always say, man, good luck in your investing, and I'll see you later.